listening to PHP Ugly, episode 161. Yes, it's still not a felony. We've only done it 161 times. Setting the low bar for PHP podcasting around the world is myself, Eric Van Johnson, and my good friend and close host, Thomas Rideout.
Hello.
I don't think this becomes a federal offense till we hit the 175, 180 mark. So I think we're good.
I didn't think it was the number of offenses, but I'm not a lawyer.
Well, it's a pollution of the airway sort of thing. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know.
You're really blown out on your mic again.
Am I blown out on my mic again?
Look at your recording waveform. Does it look blown out?
No, everything looks fine.
Let's
see. Is that worse or better?
Whoa, worse. Oh.
Yeah, my gain is turned all the way down, man.
That's weird. You must have some software gain turned on or something.
Actually, something is wrong. Go ahead and talk again.
Check, check. 1, 2. Check, check.
Alright, so this is going to be another episode of Troubleshooting PHP Ugly live with PHP Ugly. Let me check the YouTube. Let me check the tubes and see how that's sounding. But I am getting feedback from you somehow. Oh Lord, I don't know what we'd do if we had like just a normal, everyday, successful podcast. Alright, so this is going to be another episode of Troubleshooting PHP Ugly live.
Yeah, I'm not getting any echo or feedback.
YouTube? I am getting feedback from you somehow.
You know what? You don't sound like you're on the... Well, no.
YouTube sounds okay, but we are getting a loopback somewhere.
Well, that loopback is just from my speakers.
Yeah, I'm not getting any echo or feedback.
Yeah, YouTube sounds fine.
Right.
But I mean, you're still completely peaked out on YouTube.
How do you tell that?
Because when you speak loudly, it starts clipping. Like you can hear the audio quality degenerate when you speak loudly.
Well, I'll try not to speak so loudly.
If we could manage that, we'd be billionaires.
Let me try one more thing here. Only thing I can think of here is to turn down... Oh yeah, here we go. How's that?
Oh, that's much better. Now you're quiet though. Now you have to turn your gain up on the actual microphone.
How's that?
That's all right.
So this is the weird thing that happens. This pass-through loop. There it goes. It's going up. I'm not even touching it.
Oh. Is it trying to auto-detect or something?
It doesn't have an auto-detect on it, but yeah, I guess. Look at this. All right, so for anybody watching, you're going to get insight. Let me see if I can't share this with you. Hold on. Let's see. Alright, what would that be? System preference. Here we go, system preference. Alright. Let me make that nice and big here. No, what's going on there? Alright, we'll put that over here for now. That's you, Thomas. You actually only had twice for some reason.
I don't see the OBS device on this call.
Yeah, watch the. You can either watch the YouTube stream or I can put it on there for you. You want me to share it with you?
No, I'll pull the stream up. That's fine.
Yeah, pull the stream up because you're gonna love this.
I gotta mute my phone too.
All
Trump
right.
is going bonkers.
So unfortunately, you don't see my mouse, but I will manually click this down and then I'll raise my hand so you can see that I'm not doing any shenanigans here. So I'll put this right about here, then bring my hands up, and as I talk, it keeps climbing every time I see a word. I don't know why that's happening. That is the craziest thing.
And fortunately, it should be easy to look up, right?
I mean, this is just the.
Yeah. Google auto completed that immediately.
Okay, so what did they say?
Uh,
Is it a feature?
yes.
Of course it is.
Oh,
I'm
this
like,
person says that it's not OS X, it's Skype for OS X. So
ah,
check your Skype settings for automatic volume controlling.
okay.
I can't remember how to get to settings in Skype.
That would explain why. Um,
Yeah, see, for
audio.
mine, I have a checkbox for automatically adjust microphone settings, and I have that unchecked. It's in settings, audio, and video.
Okay. I don't have such a setting.
Every time you talk, it just moves up another little notch. Uh, Go to Tools at the top of the Skype window, Options,
Hmm.
Audio Settings, and under Microphone, uncheck Automatically Adjust Microphone Settings.
Don't have that. This is what I have. I'm sharing on OBS.
Actually, do you have a volume adjust for just in Skype?
For speakers, yeah.
You don't have one for microphone?
Oh yeah, automatically it's right there. Boom,
Yeah, yeah.
boom. Here we go.
So, yeah, uncheck that and then set your volume correctly in your OS X settings,
All right.
and then you should be good.
Uh, we might have to do the call over again.
And the lower your volume in software and the higher your gain in hardware, the better quality the signal should be. Because
Uh,
hardware gain is actually adjusted correctly,
okay.
whereas software gain has limits.
All right.
Oh, that is so
It's
much better so fast.
Well, it still jumps up super fast.
It's still
Just
adjusting.
it's still oh wait, yeah, no, yeah, it's still adjusting. I wonder if we have to drop the Skype and recall.
All right,
You want to try
let's
it?
try that. Yeah, close your settings and then you might even need to relaunch Skype just so we don't have to
Okay.
keep keep screwing
All
with
right.
the same thing.
Bye. right. That seems to fix it. I don't hear you now.
Hello, hello, hello.
There you go. All right. Now my mic seems to be doing
Oh,
well
oh, it's
now.
turning itself up.
No, I just did that a little bit. It was pretty low there.
Okay.
So it's not turning itself up. Do I sound okay?
You did until you turned it up.
I just turned it back down. You want me to turn it down more?
Now, yeah, the lowest you can set it in software, the better. So now use the gain on the microphone instead. It's just like taking a bra off. You're still low. That's the wrong one, I think. Oh, weird. Okay, I guess all the way down on the mic and then up on software. That's because the software, the hardware, you're still low, but it started blowing out.
Tell me when I'm
Oh,
sounding
there you go.
right there.
Right there.
All right. So that answers some of my questions. I still don't understand why that impacts the recording I send you.
Because
But
it's adjusting it in the actual operating system, so it's adjusting all of the input
huh,
gain.
there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, I stopped recording because we didn't get anywhere.
Well, that's horrible. Let's do this again. Let me stop recording. All right, gonna start recording.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, and clap check. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to episode 161 of PHP Ugly, the more audio enhanced version of PHP Ugly. I am your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, as always, as usual, ride or die friend, Thomas Rideout.
Hello.
So that was a little live troubleshooting, bug fixing there. That was fun. You know, that mic issue, for those who are not watching the live stream, Thomas and I just went back and forth trying to fix. I've been haunted with a mic issue for a long time, and it doesn't help. First thing, I don't have the best voice in the world. To top it off, I am very loud when I speak, I'm told, which I guess is true. I've edited enough of my own podcast to know that I'm loud. But for weeks, Thomas and I, we both take turns editing the podcast. And I've noticed for the last few months, actually, that my audio stream has just been getting progressively worse. And when I edit it, I take a lot of extra steps to clean it up. Um, but even doing that, I've been noticing how bad it was. And I guess Thomas and I just did a little live troubleshooting and figured it out. Um, at some point, Skype decided it would be a good idea to try to auto adjust microphone volumes. And for whatever reason, on my microphone, it just kept steadily increasing it until it maxed out every time. So it was a weird thing there, man.
Yeah, it's still not perfect quality, but I think this week we'll do some testing and see how good we can get it.
Well, I think that was a big find there. Um, but yeah, we'll still have to do some more testing and figure out why.
It wouldn't be so bad if Skype was just adjusting the volume in general for you, but it's adjusting it up only, so the louder you got, the further it adjusted it up
That's
somehow.
that's a good point. It's like, yeah, it's like, at what
It's
point did it not realize it was just too loud? Oh man. So, one of the problems, Thomas, with having a weekly podcast is that just not a lot of shit happens week after week to talk about.
Oh, I disagree.
Well, that's fantastic because I am as excited as I had been in the previous couple of podcasts we had because I was doing a lot of coding. That just really gets my juices flowing. I love coding. I, honest to God, love to code. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. To me, it's the closest to art that I can get. Any sort of real art. I just, if the world would leave me alone and just let me type code out the rest of my life, I would be so happy. Unfortunately, I run a business of coders,
No one will leave you alone.
and coding is typically the last thing I get to do. And man, I've spent the last week just putting together papers for clients and schemas and documents and oh man, we've been onboarding a new client as well, and that's always like this awkward phase of understanding each other's workflows and trying to figure out communication patterns and
Joke appropriateness.
exactly.
I
So
know. I know. I've
it's
seen it.
been fun, man. I mean it's been a week of just like management sort of work, and I just would just so rather just code, but I didn't even get to the last week. I just got into Vapor and was deploying serverless websites, and I did that up until like a little bit through the weekend, and then come Monday, real work kicked in, and I have not gotten back to it. So I have still not successfully deployed my Vapor application end to end. I've got two little quirky things happening. I'm sure they're my quirky things. Actually, I'm not sure of that. But I have two little quirky things that are happening that I just haven't had time to address. So I sent Taylor a couple emails, and I just didn't have time to. I didn't have time to follow up with him. But so yeah, Vapor is still not a successful deployment. Not because of anything Vapor is offering. It's just I just haven't had 15 minutes to work on my deployments. But you said you have some fun things to talk about, so let's focus on you. And I've totally lost your mic. I can't hear anything you're saying, so you're muted or...
You told me I was going to have to lead this today.
Yes.
So I pulled up all the stuff that I just have tabs sitting here open that I've been reading throughout the week.
Well, I hope, and I do want to say I did get some feedback. There is some interest in your PHP and porn topic.
Really?
Whenever you feel like you have some, matter of fact, that might even trump doom and gloom if that could be like a recurring segment. but um, but I got some feedback on people who are like, well, what would Tom, and to my defense, full disclosure, you and I have not talked about this, so I don't know. But they were like, well, what would Thomas talk about? I'm like, probably a lot of scaling and heavy traffic load sort of things, but I don't really
A,
know.
a little bit of scaling stuff, but also a lot of things that you would only expect larger companies to have to deal with, like search engine optimization, uh, A/B testing, lots and lots and lots of A/B testing, um, and things that you sort of it wouldn't occur to you, like we have a search functionality on our site, and that form can't be a post form; it has to be a get form.
Why wouldn't it? Why can't it be a post?
Because you can't copy and paste a post form and send it to your friend and say, check this out.
Oh, I never thought
Yes.
of that. That would be
Yes.
one of those porn things.
It
Yeah.
totally it totally is. It's the same with YouTube. YouTube has to disclose the search terms in the get vars because if they don't, you can't send it to somebody else, and that's a huge portion of their traffic. Um,
Buttery saying he can't hear me at all.
I can hear him fine.
Let me pop back on YouTube.
Oh. Well, you look into that, and I'll keep talking.
You keep talking. I'll. Oh well, the problem is that they can't hear me talking. So if you keep talking, it's gonna be hard for me to know that.
Well, I'll fill air.
Okay, you do that.
One thing a lot of people don't know outside of the industry is that there's an industry standard for uh, tracking affiliate programs called NATS, N-A-T-S, and familiarity with that archaic monolithic system and integration to that system is essential for everything we do. Um, because the way that our media is promoted on the internet is by giving other people the tools to create their own little satellite sites that redirect back to us for the sales portion of the process. So there's a lot of tracking for that. There's a lot of analytics data that we have to track. Some countries have very strict controls on content that can be available in their country. So we do geo-IP detection, and we actually modify the available content based on the result. So if you were to hop into a VPN, you might not see the same content on the site that you would see in your native country. And that's because there's compliance issues we have to take care of and stuff like that. There's also a lot of scheduling. We build a lot of systems to manage scheduling when something is and isn't available. And then, like you had said originally, scale is a big deal. We have to worry a lot about caching and performance because we are one of the classic targets for attackers to just DDoS us endlessly.
All right, that's probably a little louder for you, Thomas. Hopefully that's working on YouTube now. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to close my YouTube channel, but I didn't do that. But is that working better for us here? That's how you reply. I will be back on YouTube. So, oh boy.
So another classic issue that we have to deal with is CSRF and CFRS and XRF vulnerability tracking. We have to keep up to date with stuff. At a previous company, we had an issue where somehow somebody's credentials had made it into the AdSense ads. So when you clicked on the AdSense ad, it logged you in as the person who was creating the AdSense ads. I mean, crazy stuff.
All right, so here's the issue, Thomas. It's louder, but I'm all blown out. Like I'm sounding robot-y. And the concern I have is that is an issue with the recording as well. So I'm going to stop my recording for a second and listen to it and see if we're having a problem there. If it's just YouTube, then it's just YouTube, and there's nothing we can do about it right now.
Do you want to sync pausing or recording?
Well, we can do that, or I can do another clap check after, or I can just do another clap check when I come back, so you can keep recording.
Okay.
Alright, let me just turn that off for a second. So you can't hear me right now, right?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Oh, because I just stopped recording. Right, let me see if this is... Oh, Jesus! 161 of PHP Ugly.
Wow.
It's so fucking loud!
You might need to reboot your whole machine.
So
just because of
oh
that game
God.
got screwed up on one thing. It got screwed up because you have like 3 apps that persist your audio stream. You have like 3 apps that persist your audio stream, so they might all need to be restarted. Like your loopback thing, OBS. Audacity, because you had to restart Skype too.
All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna restart it all.
All right.
All right, I'm back. You're hearing me fine on Skype, right?
Right.
And the recording is fine. I wonder if I have to restart OBS though, or I wonder if OBS.
I
See, the
need to get
problem,
OBS working on here on my machine.
right? That's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about actually. So I'm gonna start recording again. Let's do another clap. Oh wait, what did it say? Laugh out loud. Oh, that's you. Let's listen to YouTube now. It sounds like YouTube is better. YouTube better, Buttery? Yeah, I think YouTube is functional. All right, Buttery, if you can live with that, we're gonna push through with this. All right, I'm gonna start recording again. 3, 2, 1. All right, you want a clap check?
Yep.
Clap check. 3, 2, 1. All right, so I just gotta remember to send you the 2 recordings.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. So sorry about that, Buttery. Thanks for letting us know, but hopefully you can live through it. You're our #1 fan, Buttery. Don't leave us. If you leave us, we will have nobody.
So that's the general breakdown of how things can get weird in my industry. There's a lot of idiosyncrasy, etc. People don't realize how much of our traffic is mobile. I didn't realize how much of our traffic is mobile.
What do you mean? Mobile compatible or mobile? What do you mean mobile?
People on phones.
Okay, really? That's like a thing?
Yeah, that's a thing that I did not understand.
I don't know if I understand. I mean, I'm not that I'm a big like porn person, so maybe if you are, it makes sense. But like, what is your situation where you're like, well, I gotta pull some porn up on my phone? Like, what are you doing?
What would you guess our percentage is for mobile devices versus desktop?
Well, just because you said that, only based on that, I'm gonna put it higher than my expectation of 40%. Now, to be fair, had you not said that, I would have said 5%.
Yeah, it's like closer to 70%.
You stop. Well,
I
okay.
seriously.
Are tablets considered mobile then?
Yes.
Maybe with tablets.
I believe so, yeah.
Still though, I
It's
don't
it's
know.
way higher than I thought it would
Cause
be.
you gotta hold the tablet the whole
Yeah,
time. I mean,
doesn't
I
make
don't,
sense. I
I don't
agree.
get it. That's interesting.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot to account for that you wouldn't think of.
the search thing I would have never thought of. The doing the get instead of a post
Right?
makes complete sense, but would never had occurred to me. A/B testing though, you mentioned A/B testing. You do a lot of A/B testing.
We do a lot of A/B testing.
Obviously, people don't know they're being A/B tested on, but like, what sort of things do you A/B test? Because, I mean, the format's pretty simple, right? There's a video, there's some buttons, but what are
I
you A/B testing?
I would say that some component of the layout, uh, of the core layout, changes every couple weeks.
So
Something
this is
that
a
you wouldn't
this is
notice unless you worked for the company and went, "Oh, weird."
this is something that's always fascinated me. again, I don't spend a lot of time on porn sites, but the time I
5 minutes a
spent,
day max.
the time I have spent on porn sites, seeing comments, it's like, who's commenting on this stuff? Like, how
We implemented
much?
that. We implemented that, and I thought that was a crazy thing to spend money on implementing.
Mhm.
And nope, it's people comment. I don't.
That was going to be my question: is what functionality do you think, or what functionality gets you used on your site where you're like, nobody's ever going to use this, and people, because you've told me things that you're like, oh yeah, we're looking at doing this. I'm like, why would anybody on a porn site use that? And you were
Yeah.
always like, yeah, I wouldn't think they'd use it, but they use it.
Well, I can tell you that the VR stuff is bizarre and makes me wickedly uncomfortable. But it's very, very popular,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't really understand that. As somebody who, even when I absolutely know that I'm in the house alone, somebody could show up at home for some reason.
Oh yeah, yeah. You would never catch me watching porn in VR. For
Well,
never.
yeah, that's the thing is that the first thing you realize when you put the headset on is that someone will immediately catch you doing this because you are dead to the outside world, and it is a terrifying experience. And for some reason, all of the actresses like to kiss the camera directly,
Mm.
which, given the medium, is your eyeball.
Right.
And because it's on this fisheye lens thing, it's like your whole eye, it's your whole face is. It's a very weirdly invasive technology, but a lot of people love it. Um, we've got augmented reality now. We have 3D models that we're releasing on like a daily basis, where you just the model just dances and you can spin them around in a 3D viewer in the
Yeah,
browser.
but I was looking more like things you've implemented on the website that like share and Twitter buttons and things like that. Where again, I'm like, who would ever use that? But people use it.
Yeah, we have favorites and watch later, which is
Yeah.
very popular for some people
Hmm.
and not at all
The
popular for others.
so the favorites was one of the things. It's like, again, thinking about a porn site, it's like, I don't know if I would be favoriting things, but you guys actually ran into a lot of performance issues because of the way you were handling favorites, right? Because I remember we did a lot of
Yeah,
talking back and forth
God,
on
yeah.
caching possibly using Redis, and
And it's
see,
gone. The whole thing's gone now because of
this
that,
is
because of the
this is the type of
performance
thing I
issues.
love. Oh, so you don't have favorites at all anymore?
It's a micro feature of one page on the site. It used to be that from the homepage you got this top-down view of what you had and hadn't favorited.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but because we had a guy who favorited every video out of tens of thousands of videos, we had to stop doing that because either we were breaking our caching by adding a query to every single scene lookup,
Mm-hmm.
or we were caching the entire result set. And the way we resolved this is I had JavaScript on the page look for which scenes were on the page and then perform an Ajax query and say which of these scenes listed is favorited, and I would get a result back.
Mm-hmm.
But that ended up becoming a problem too because people were writing bots that were trying to scrape our sites, and they were hitting that lookup 1,000 times a second.
Mm. Gotcha.
Which is another thing that we have to worry about. We have to worry about people sharing passwords and which IP address they're coming from. We have to worry about throttling people who are potentially doing something, hazardous.
So share with us the dirty secret here. Do you guys ever look at like user accounts and like the videos they watch and be like, oh my god, this guy doesn't leave the house. He watches 5,000 videos a day.
No, absolutely not. I could tell you,
Good, good, I'm
just
safe. Okay.
just getting that database off of the production server is a nightmare. and querying against it would be a complete hog, a time hog. I can tell you when I did work for that really sleazy dating website, they knew every time a .gov or .edu email was used to sign up.
Ooh.
And they cared.
I cared how?
Dunno, I wasn't the boss. But I did quit for serious ethical concerns in general at that company. So
again, one of the good things about you, Thomas, is you do have standards and ethics, and I know the company you work for, and I know your boss, and I know that kind of is a common theme among all you guys.
yes,
So you guys,
it has to be.
You work on one of the fringe industries. There's no question, but you're definitely one of the good guys in that industry. But I do enjoy getting calls from you or your boss during the week because I always know it's going to be an interesting problem.
Yeah,
it's like, this is going to be fun. It's going to be
never
fun.
Simple. It's never just how do I join these two tables.
And again, you don't need to share this. Obviously, I don't want to get you fired or anything like that. But just out of curiosity, the users of your service, is that pretty much the end of how you use them? Like you're trying to sell to them your product, but do you guys do anything else with that data? Like you guys don't sell it to
Not the
anybody?
data. Not the data. So what we do have is something called cross-selling and cross-promotion. So we have a relationship with a CAM site that we can transfer username data to them, and when they go over there, they have a tracking code that links the account on their site to the account on our site so that there's a relationship established. It's called a white box site, where they let us put our own logos up on their site, and even though the person is on a third-party site, they get branding from us still.
Right.
But I don't believe we transfer financial information or anything that I would consider sensitive. And then we have some advertising partners, but they send us advertisements. We don't send them anything. And when there's a click-through, we just send a tracking number that is anonymized, so there's no data leakage of any kind. Again, that nefarious company I used to work for did do some stuff that was called credit card transfer or credit card authority transfer, where you could have a one-click button that gave us permission to send your credit card details to another provider so that they could start charging you as well. And there's restrictions on how that gets used, but those restrictions didn't always get followed to the T. So people could end up clicking through links on the site and finding out that they're getting charged for 3 different websites now. And
Yeah.
but I'm very happy that this is a very ethical company, that they don't if they do something that I think is wrong, or if they ask me to program something that I thought was morally wrong, I wouldn't do it. And I think that's an understanding with my boss as well.
You're in a pretty good position where you wouldn't be asked that. And again, all the credit to you and your boss. You guys are passionate developers. I know your team.
Absolutely.
I hung out with your team in New York.
And Jersey.
You yourself, you run user groups. You're on this podcast every week. We never talk about your line of work on a regular basis. This is very out of the ordinary for us. But you're a passionate developer. You love developing. They love developing. I know. I don't want to say names, but yeah, those guys. We sit down to dinner. We sit down and have a drink. All of the code, all the talk is about code. It's not about the product and the challenges and the interesting problems you guys are trying to solve. So I do like hanging out with you guys for that reason.
you hung out with my boss, and I was wondering if you guys talked about eloquent API resources.
Did not.
I had not seen this before, and he pointed to me for a ticket the other day, and boy, I love this thing.
Did he point you to the Laracon talk or to something else?
Just to the documentation on the Laravel, the new Laravel website.
The new Laravel 6.0 website that is six hasn't been released yet, but yes.
But the upgrade guide is actually there. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
yeah. And you can
You can do a huge amount of magic on there. Uh, you can query relationships and make sure that the relationships get properly populated so that they're represented correctly in your response. And you can make new stuff like two-string relationship mapping. So you can say if this gets represented as a string on this API, then it returns this value. A lot of really cool stuff. And it clicks together really fast. Like you could just
yeah.
say new resource and then this field, this field, this field, and now you have it and it's done. So I'm super excited finding those.
So what's it called again? Relationship mapping model.
Eloquent API resources.
See, I'm not seeing this. API resources. Got it. Okay. I was getting to the site. Let me
It's got built-in handling for pagination. It's got a collection type and an individual model type, so you can build out collections that are paginated and then process them before
I feel like there
outputting
was
it
a
to the
talk
API.
on. I feel like there was a Laracon talk on this.
I think there might have been because now you can't tell because the Laracon site doesn't have the names of any of the talks on them.
Yeah, but if you go to YouTube, the company that recorded it has been slowly releasing the talks, and they have the titles on them. So there's a intro to Vapor. Man, I am not design Laravel design patterns. I am not seeing it. Man, this layout is horrible. Actually, now that I say it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go. You have to go to the actual company site. The SteamCon streaming conference. Here we go. This yeah, eloquent performance patterns. I think is the one I was thinking of.
It might have been in there because the
Yeah.
feature the feature is easy enough to implement that it really doesn't deserve more than 10 minutes of talk.
Hmm. I need to read through this. I don't know if I've. This is not looking familiar to me, so I need to read through this. Cool. Excellent.
You use the Slack app, don't you?
I do, unfortunately, it's the bane of my existence, but yeah, and
Do
it's
you
not
have the new
cheap.
one?
Yeah, you have to have the new one. Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I still hate Slack. Why? I mean, should I be noticing something different? It's the same application.
It's way faster.
It might be faster. I don't know.
When I'm jumping between companies, it's instantaneous instead of having to do this whole connection dance and rendering again.
You're right. That is fast. But you know what? You know what I have noticed since the upgrade is that it'll occasionally just go away and then re-render everything back to me.
Huh. I noticed that if I hit F5 it closes. I don't think it's supposed to.
Yeah, I shouldn't complain about Slack. I mean, Slack does meet a lot of our needs, and because of Slack, I probably look at email once or twice a day. So never email me or don't email me and expect a response. But between Slack and our project management system, Teamworks, I never look at emails. It's like anybody who needs to get in touch with me, they have other means of getting in touch with me.
That's great. Now, we
Mm-hmm.
use Jira for our project management stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they recently did an overhaul of their look and feel, and boy, that's a huge step back. They
Don't you
just
hate
screwed the pooch on that one.
have you been watching any of the Laracon talks?
I haven't yet. I've saw that they're starting to get really pushed out every day. There's a new one every day.
Dude, wait till you see the Livewire stuff. Uh, I do a terrible job at explaining Livewire, but that is the cool. Like once I get this vapor thing done, that's my next thing. Is I'm going to do some Livewire testing, and I keep saying I'm going to stream this stuff, and then I end up not streaming it because I never work on one thing at a time. So it's like, okay, well, I can stream it, but then I can't work on this over here at the same
Yeah.
time, and so I don't end up streaming. But
Did you see
um,
the video of the guy who was streaming himself developing a new iOS app, and
no,
his mom saw that he was streaming? You didn't
no,
see that?
no, what happened?
Oh my God, it's incredible. So he's live streaming the whole process of him creating this application on Twitch,
Uh,
and I guess he's living with his mom, or he was at his mom's at the time, and she went to walk behind him and saw that he was talking to the camera and working, and realized that he was doing his streaming thing that he had told her about. So
hmm
she crouches down on her knees and starts like waddling past him so that she's not on the camera, except that she's all the way on the camera. You can see her still, 100%. And she does it without saying anything to him because she wants to be nice and help him. And when she goes to leave the room, she does it again, and he can see her in his feed on his screen, just walking like a duck. And
uh,
so he stops what he's doing, and then just turns around slowly and goes, "Mom, what are you doing?" And she says, "I just didn't want to disturb you." It was
oh,
so adorable.
you gotta find that and put it in the show notes.
I will. I will. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, if I had a cool project I was working on, I'd love to stream it. But I mean, all the stuff I do could be very easily classified as just work, where
Yeah,
it's just add this field here, push it out, test it, seed the data.
well, it's funny because occasionally I'll do pair programming with a developer, and I when I was doing the state machines, I did that with one of our developers. One of the developers who told me he was interested in the state machines, and next time I did some work, if he could pair program with me, I'm like, yeah, sure. So it was cool because he's on with me. I'm sharing the screen and going through, and I'm like, yeah, this is fun. I should stream this, and then I don't stream it. I'm
Uh,
horrible. I'm a horrible developer.
I got something else new. I got toys for myself.
Oh, what do you got? Show me, show me, show me.
I got the Wise Cam.
Oh, yeah. Is that uh completely wireless or?
Yeah, it needs power, but besides that, it's totally wireless.
Oh, so it does need power. I like those because my mom, she got the ones that are completely wireless, and then she never takes them down and charges them. I'm like, what's the point? If she puts them way up where you have to climb a ladder to put them up.
Yeah.
So like when I went out there, when she's like, yeah, can you climb up and put this camera up for me? I'm like, okay. I'm like, Mom, how's this thing charging? She goes, oh, it has a battery in it. I'm like, well, that's not gonna last. And sure enough, it doesn't last.
I have a battery pack that this thing would work with. I should test out trying to go truly wireless and see how long it lasts.
So what's the Wise Cam? What is that? What's special about the
So
Wise Cam? I'm a Nest
it's
guy myself.
so this is 1080p, um, no paid service. It's a free streaming to your
Ooh.
app. Onboard 32 gig card, um, which I believe gets you a week or a week and a half of data stored locally that you
Uh,
can access from your app at any time from any location. Um, Infrared, and it
Interesting.
records and it records in full SD, or
So
full
that's
full
that server
1080p.
service piece is very interesting. So the 32 gig drive in it, the card in it, does it just overwrite itself and just keep going?
Yes, so the card is, I would say, basically essential if you want to rewind anything. If you want to watch it in real time, you don't need a card.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the service that it comes with provides like a 2 hour rewind functionality or something like that. But to me, that's not very useful. Um, it has motion detection, but they also recently added person detection, which is machine learning based, identifying a cat versus a person in a room,
Mm-hmm.
and that works fantastically.
Hmm.
Um,
What,
it has
what's this?
it
What's
has
it
a
called?
it's WYSE, and before you look it up, so it has a microphone, but it also has a speaker, so I can talk back through it.
Right. This has that as well.
Yeah, the base is magnetic, and it comes with the magnetic disc that you just stick to the wall with a piece of
Oh, I
3M.
like that.
So it just pops on and hangs off there,
Yeah.
and any of the angles it just sticks in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a very, very nice device. How much would you expect to pay for it?
Let's see. Based on what Nests go for, I'm putting it at about 30, $40.
$25 a unit.
Ah, that's not bad.
So it's very cheap for what it is,
And
and
it
the
doesn't
quality.
doesn't tie you into a service, huh?
It ties you into their mobile app, which I think is tied into their service somehow in China somehow.
Okay. Do you
I
have
will
to pay
say
for stuff though?
you don't have to pay for anything, but I will say I don't think I own my own video data, which it is a
Actually,
big. When you go buy it on Amazon, that's a big selling like negative point on all the reviews. Is
the
people say I
web
read the terms of service and it's a 1 star device.
the website has it at $20 actually, not even 25.
Oh yeah, you know what? I actually did get these for 20. I think the price dropped. Now there is one issue, is that I bought two of these, but I now have four of them
Why? They come in
because
pairs?
the two that I bought did not
Are they
work out the
popular?
box.
Oh, okay.
The company claims that there was a manufacturing defect which lost a resistor on the board that should have been placed there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely convinced that that's what happened, because the packaging did change ever so slightly between the one that I got as a replacement and the ones I originally got. So it seems like somebody got fired. Some factory in China got fired. Um, but it
So you don't
appears
really
that
have really have four though. You said so you only have two working ones.
I have two broken ones and two working ones.
There you go.
Um, and they didn't even want the broken ones back. They just sent me two brand new ones and said sorry. Um, which I'm glad it wasn't too big of a hassle to get dealt with. But when I described the issue, they immediately knew what I was talking about and issued a replacement. But it seems like if you buy it off Amazon instead of off Wise's site, you have a 50-50 chance of getting a working one or a broken one.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I like those odds.
It's not great. So if you do buy them, order them from the official website. Don't get them off Amazon, because I don't think they work off Amazon.
And you said you've been pretty happy with it, or?
Yeah, I really like them. I mean, the quality is surprisingly good for this little white box on the wall. You would not expect what you get out of it.
Can you put a bigger card in it than 32 gig?
I've heard that you can, but I've
Okay.
also heard that you can't.
Ah, interesting.
I'm not exactly sure. So the function of the card in the device was one of the two features that's broken because of this resistor issue.
Uh,
So a lot of people complaining that it doesn't recognize their card actually have broken devices and don't realize it. So I don't know if you can get a 64 gig card for it or not, but I don't really think it's worth it. And on top of all of this praise, the app is really good.
Really?
Most of the apps that I've used for this kind of functionality in the past have been terrible attempts at putting out a product that just works and never having to support it again.
Mm-hmm.
And this app is very fast, very functional. If I want to rewind to specific points in time, it's got them tagged out to when it detected motion or when it detected audio. One of the cool features is if you don't want to have it doing motion detection or sound detection all the time, it can still do fire alarm and CO2 alarm detection. So
Really?
I can have it always recording, and what it does is it listens for the sound of a fire alarm. And if it
Oh,
hears
so it doesn't actually. I gotcha. Okay, all right.
right, which is to me was such a duh thing. Like when it said fire alarm detection, I thought, well, okay, what kind of bridge device IoT piece of garbage do I have to get for this to work?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it and it says listens for sound of fire alarm. And I went, oh, of course, it's a simple, stupid solution. Of course, they just have a waveform for a fire alarm, and if it matches that waveform, it sends an alert. That's
Mm-hmm.
what like. Why are we doing all of this stupid connected crockpot garbage when it's that easy?
Mm-hmm. So if you look at if you go to the website, it shows like the camera and it's like doing like the down and up and moving. I assume it's just showing you it has the ability to swivel, or does it actually automatically swivel itself?
So there is a device called the Wise Pan,
Okay.
and the Wise Cam Pan actually is motorized, and
Ah.
it will track movement in the room in a very terrifying way. So a buddy of mine has this one. A buddy of mine has this one, and he turned on the feature where it will track people in the room and keep
Uh-huh.
them in the center of the frame. And it's got this little stepper motor inside of it that goes mm, mm, and it just follows you as you walk around the room, and it's very unnerving. Um,
Okay.
but that device is, I think it's like another $30 for that functionality alone.
It's yeah, that goes for $30. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
And yeah, and my buddy has it and says, you know what? It's just not worth it. Is that
Yeah.
the one with, because it's got this nice wide angle lens on it already. So just having one in a room gets you the full room easily.
Mm-hmm.
It's that extra 10 bucks, I guess, just isn't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Now these aren't outdoor cameras, but they have an outdoor accessory for them.
Mm.
So you can actually get a mounting kit that's hardened against rain.
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
I love it.
I have one of my nests I have outside. It's not an outdoor nest. It was just a nest, and then I bought the little outside protection thing on it. Now Nest actually makes outdoor cameras.
Now, one thing to note is that it doesn't do 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi.
Hmm.
It has
That's
to
no big
connect
deal.
it has to connect to the standard 2.4.
Yeah.
But besides that, I love this thing. It's great.
Cool. Cool, man.
And the night vision is very functional too.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a Nest Cam. That's something else with the Nest Cam here at the office. I've been tempted to make it public, just because why not, right?
Yeah.
But I haven't. I don't know.
But those are way more expensive, aren't they?
No, I don't. I forget how much they are, but they're not.
Hundred
They're
and
not too.
$170.
No, they're not. Not a piece. You must be looking at like a package of them or something.
Nope.
Although I don't know, since Google bought them, maybe something's changed.
The 2-pack of the
Like,
outdoor cameras are 300.
really?
The Nest branded ones are all at least $130 for the lowest end ones.
What? There's no way. Not that I don't believe you, but I don't believe you. I'm going to the website as we speak and prove you wrong. Nest camera. Let me see. Show it to me, Nest. And of course, Nest doesn't like, or Amazon doesn't like Nest, and so
No, they hate Nest.
they won't let you see your Nest camera. You're right. The cheapest Nest camera is $200.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Wow, I don't remember paying that much. Maybe I did. I just don't recall.
Well,
And,
you
and
have you
what
have
sucks
tech
about it,
price blindness though. When you see something cool,
this is
you
very
go
true.
you go fuzzy in the face. You
Yeah,
go,
this is true.
ah.
The problem with Nest, though, and why I'm surprised it's so expensive, is to get any functionality out of it, you have to subscribe to their service.
And the
So,
service
like,
might cut off at any given time, like they did with the Nest Hub, because they just
exactly.
suspended that and said it's done now.
Yeah, it's like, well, we're not supporting this anymore, so, we're done. But yeah, I think the Nest camera, I think a very similar situation. I think you get like 30 minutes of rewind time if you don't pay for anything. But then you have to pay, and the Nest service isn't cheap either. You have to pay this Nest service if you want any sort of real security where you can rewind. Now, I do like the fact that it's all off-site. Like the moment the camera records it, it pumps it through the web and it's off-site. So if anybody snatches my Nest, they don't get the recording. It's like I still can see them snatching the Nest. You know what I mean?
Right.
But but yeah, wow, I'm absolutely surprised at the cost of these. And yeah, the outdoor camera, like I said, they didn't even have the outdoor camera when I purchased it. So
And
I
that's the
can't
cheapest
think
one.
I can't even think that it was this much when I bought it. So when I bought Nest, it was a company. Google didn't own it.
Right.
But
They started
maybe
with
it
the
was.
thermostat.
Yeah, maybe it was this much. I don't recall. I probably can look on my Amazon list and see how much I paid for it. I'm sure I bought it through
Don't do
Amazon.
it. That's just punishing yourself.
I know, I know. All right. So some more tech news. I was talking. It's very funny.
What?
It's very funny.
What am I
No,
missing?
it's just I had already typed into Amazon and clicked on orders when you said don't look it up, and then the, like the stuff my wife orders off Amazon,
Don't look that up either.
just her brother is flying in for a visit. For he lives in Hawaii. And he's coming in for a visit in September, and he has a young baby, a baby under a year old. And of course, my wife is very excited to meet her niece or nephew. I think it's a nephew. My wife is very excited to see the baby. So all they've been talking about is, well, we gotta do this for the baby, we gotta do that for the baby. I'm like, it's a baby. It'll be here for like 4 days. And I get it to Amazon. Yeah, no, she bought a baby seat, a baby car seat for it. I'm like, the kid is here. They can bring the car seat on the goddamn plane. Oh my gosh. I love my wife, and she loves babies. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
not a fan myself, but
I love babies, but then once they get like moving around and stuff, they become a real pain in the ass. I don't like them anymore at that
yeah.
point. But
I remember last
so
week I was telling you that school is starting and that I was very happy about that, and nothing has changed.
no,
It's just quiet for an additional 3 hours, but I think they unload when they get home.
uh-huh.
That period of time where they weren't home and yelling, they save it up for when they get home immediately.
Mhm.
So that's fun.
All right, so I do have a couple more geek things we can talk about.
Fire away.
As excited as I am with Vapor, and as excited as let me pull back a little bit on that. We use Amazon's AWS service pretty heavily for a couple clients. One of the features in AWS that I've always loved, one of the more expensive features, has been the AWS RDS service, the relational database service, in which you can fire up a Postgres, a MySQL, or this Amazon Azure MySQL version as well. And it is, for what it is, it's a great service. You don't have to worry about any management of your database anymore. It handles it. It does backups. You can do restores. Uh, Creating a read-only clone of your database is pretty simple to do. Always been really nice. Like I said, one of the more expensive services on the AWS platform, but worth it if you're in that environment and you need a MySQL database. For our smaller clients and our smaller sites, we use DigitalOcean, and
Mm-hmm.
DigitalOcean has been teasing that they're coming out with this database service for a while, and they actually had released a Postgres service a few months back.
I heard about this.
Yeah, they finally released their MySQL and even a Redis version, which I'm like, why would anybody use a Redis as a service? But okay, that's fine. I mean, a Redis is pretty easy to install, but that's fine. But anyways, so now
It has had its
DigitalOcean,
vulnerability issues, though, this
yeah, that's
year.
true. Yeah. So now MySQL and Postgres, if you're a Postgres person, are offered on DigitalOcean as a service, and their pricing is very on par with their pricing of their droplets. So I think the cheapest service is like $15 a month, which the cheapest droplet is like $5 a month. And it was funny because it's like it's a service. They're low in MySQL configuration with $15 a month, and people are like, well, why isn't there a $5 a month one? And it's like $5. Spend
Screw
up a
you, that's
$5.
why.
I know, it's like spend up a $5 a month droplet and install it yourself. It's like this is a service. It's not. Well, there should be a cheaper version. Not everybody can afford $15 a month. It's like maybe you shouldn't be running
I
a
bet you those people
database.
have a $200 a month phone plan.
And they're probably buying $200 Nest cameras too. The bastards. So,
And car seats for a 4-day trip.
so yeah, if you use DigitalOcean and you have a database as a service, man, we actually have we have actually two droplets on DigitalOcean that are just database servers. One for one of the bigger clients that we keep on DigitalOcean, and another for essentially all the other sites that we host on DigitalOcean. And I'll probably be moving at least one of them over to this service at some point.
You know what I like the most about DigitalOcean, though,
What's that?
is how much better it is than AWS.
Well, it's
Like the
simpler.
the
Yeah,
interface, the pricing,
yeah.
the
And what's
the
funny is like
management.
they have block storage, which is like AWS S3, and it's completely S3 compatible. So all the tools you use for S3. Matter of fact, I have a Laravel application running
Is it the
that
spaces
that
thing?
writes. Is it Spaces? Is that what it's called? Yeah, maybe it's called Spaces. Yeah, I have a S3. A Laravel application that's running in DigitalOcean that leverages the S3 driver to write images
Oh,
to
nice.
storage. Yeah, and it's 100% compatible. I had to do no trickery, no funky monkey patching to make it work. I just
Well,
put in my credentials.
see, I'm looking at my old DigitalOcean homepage, and it's so immediately better. It has a project functionality, so you can say these things are separated into projects.
That just came out last year. Yep, that's new. Yeah.
And then it has the resources within that project, so you can
Yep.
see on one page what all of the things you have are.
Mm-hmm.
Versus AWS, the last time I used AWS, it had 500 links, and each of those had 3 sublinks to the type of domain routing thing you wanted, and you didn't know which ones you had existing deployments of. You
Yep.
just knew that it was you had one somewhere, and then you'd go into the domain system, and the domain system was hosted on S3, or it was in the S3 file format or something. So like, there's something weird about how they do domains, that you have to have a bucket to store your NS records, and
uh, you're talking about the Route 53 DNS service?
right, there's some weird connection to their storage system that you have to have an instance of the
I don't
storage system, and
don't recall what
it's
that
just
is.
I just I so dislike S3 to the point that I got a call from Google one day. I kid you not, and they said, "We're doing a competitor to Amazon. We want you to tell us about the interface. What do you think of the interface?" And I did a Skype call with somebody at Google and went through page by page by page, and I kept telling them, "This looks like AWS. It's garbage. The more you try to look like AWS, the worse off you're doing. Look at DigitalOcean. They do it correctly. This is a waste of time."
I do like DigitalOcean's interface, that's for sure.
And it's prettier too. And
Yes.
it has a price tag in the top corner. It just
Mm-hmm.
says, "Here's the price," not "We'll tell you later."
We'll figure it out through this complex series of calculations.
Right.
Yeah, I hear you.
And they have
So
what? They have Kubernetes. Is that is that
yeah,
what it's called?
Kubernetes, yeah. That's the Docker service, yeah.
Yeah, they've got all this great stuff now that I haven't had the chance to use because
Oh, if
I
you
don't
haven't
do
logged into
operations.
yeah, if you haven't logged into DigitalOcean in the last year or two, yeah, it's got it. They have just really put a lot of effort into it. Um, so I had a scare today. You want to hear about my scare? Or actually, I think it was yesterday. I had a scare. Yeah, it was
What's
yesterday.
what's that?
Um, so I use PHP Storm and I subscribe to PHP Storm. So every time there's a new upgrade, I get the upgrade. I get the newest, latest version. Blah blah blah. And I actually have the toolbox set up so that it automatically upgrades me.
Right,
Right? I
yeah,
don't.
I've got that too, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want it asking me anymore. So it upgraded me to 2019.2 yesterday. And I'm like, all right, well, this is cool. And I went to open up a project, and immediately I get this huge error message, JavaScript error, saying, oh, hey, idea vim is giving me errors. I'm disabling that plugin. I'm like, the hell you are? It's like, I can't use this. I can't use this tool without,
Your
my Vim bindings.
your kidney appears to be failing, so we just removed it.
So it fires up. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna pop back in there and re-enable that for you. Thank you very much. And I re-enabled Idea Vim, and I pop back out, and I'm trying to code, and it's like it's not working. Like Idea Vim isn't working. It's like I'm getting all these J's and L's and K's, and I'm like, what is happening? And I, my mind could not do it. Like I could not remember that I didn't have my Vim bindings, and so I'm like, this is horrible. This isn't gonna work. Let me shut it down and start it up again and see if it works now. So I shut it down and I start it up again, and sure enough, the error message pops back up and says, yeah, we disabled it. I'm like, I can't use PHP Storm anymore. It was just that simple. I'm like, well, that was fun. I enjoyed using PHP Storm for the few years, but later, and
Your
I
your loyalty was tested and immediately failed. Just failed on the
well,
idea of a test.
it's hysterical to me I mean, I was getting frustrated with myself. I'm like, I can't believe I can't code without Vim. It's like I couldn't do it. I kept trying to do it, and I'm like, I kept. How much time do you spend on your mouse? How do you do that? How do you code with one hand on a mouse, clicking around all over the place? You guys are insane, man.
It's called multitasking.
Oh man. So fortunately, I saw in a thread, I was like, oh yeah, just uninstall it and reinstall it. And first thing, that took a while to process. I'm like, I can't uninstall Vim. That's just that I can't do that. That is wrong.
I can't even quit Vim. I don't know how to uninstall it.
So I uninstalled the plugin, reinstalled it, and fortunately everything worked. And I'm a happy coder again if I could actually do some coding. But it was like, if you had been in my office, I felt like an idiot. I'm like cursing at myself because I can't maneuver around my code. I can't believe how embedded them movements are in my fingertips.
Just the thermostat is set to 65 degrees and you're pouring sweat. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
I'm such a joke, man. I'm such a joke. Oh God, it was hysterical.
Walked over to the synagogue, the local synagogue, and just had a real close conversation with God. I don't know what's happened, but Vim was everything to me.
I didn't realize how much I would miss it. Dude, it terrified me. I'm like, I was trying to edit two files. I literally quit out of Storm and opened it up in Vim just so I could get my edits done. And then of course that felt so right. It was like, oh yeah, oh right, yeah.
Oh, terminal,
that's right.
terminal, baby.
Yeah. That was my.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of hacky responses to problems,
Yeah.
I've told you I'm having trouble with my older laptop just sort of randomly shutting down.
You mentioned that.
So my solution to it was I went to Walmart and just bought a can of canned air. And every time I feel like it's working too hard, I just spray it down. Just don't crash on me, baby. You're cool, you're cool.
Why didn't you get its own little desktop fan and just put that on it?
I don't want to put any more strain on the USB port.
Oh man. All right.
I have.
That's it.
It's
done?
not quite. I have one last thing.
Go ahead.
I have maybe doom and gloom.
What? Wait, I haven't done. We don't switch scenes anymore. Where's Doom and Gloom at? Where's Doom? There you go. Doom and Gloom. Lay it on us. Actually, before you Doom and Gloom,
All right.
we should thank our Patreons.
Absolutely.
Thank you, patrons. We appreciate you patronizing us. Patronizing us? Giving us money for
We appreciate
this.
your patronage.
There you go. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Doom and Gloom. And now, back to Doom and Gloom.
I would say almost 3 years ago, we had a lengthy conversation about my favorite version control software, Mercurial.
Okay, right. Mm-hmm.
There were a number of reasons I liked Mercurial over Git. I think it is more featureful. It is easier to use.
Wait, what was that word? Featureful?
Featureful.
Oh, featureful. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
It was easier for me to use. It had a nicer interface in the command line. It had a lot of really helpful features. But we ended up switching away from it and moving to Git, and I just sort of never thought about Mercurial again.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, we're not the only ones because Bitbucket is dropping Mercurial support.
Really?
If you don't know or don't understand why this is a big deal, Bitbucket is owned by Atlassian, who created Mercurial.
Yeah.
So this is not them dropping a feature. This is them essentially ending the life of a product. Um, they put out a nice long blog post, basically said, yeah, by February 2020, you'll no longer be able to create new repositories with Mercurial, and by June 1st, you will not be able to use Mercurial features or
Ooh.
via Bitbucket or the API, and all the Mercurial repositories will be removed. So they're full on. We're just done with it. We're focusing on Git. It's it's been a long time coming, and it was a hard decision, but I guess they have, of their total user base, less than 1% is using Mercurial. And Bitbucket was the place to go if you were going to use a Mercurial repository. They were the ones that provided the free service that you could just create a public bucket and give access to anybody else. They were the GitHub of Mercurial. And now they are the Mercurial of GitHub. They're just the casual alternative to GitHub. Um, I thought that was pretty surprising and sad because I loved Mercurial. I thought it was great. Um, I
I've
never
never
had
used it, so I wouldn't know.
the big difference functionally is that the what you would consider origin for Git
Mm-hmm.
is local.
Mm.
And so when you're swapping between projects in Mercurial, you're not communicating with a hub source. You have the whole project contained locally, and you tell it to update the project. So if there's 20 branches in that project, then they all update in your local repository, and then as you check them out and check them in, you get the newest versions. So we have in my environment, we have hundreds of currently open branches.
Mm-hmm.
And if I wanted to update all of the open branches that I have, I'd have to write a script that looped through all of them and updated them all one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But with Mercurial, you could just say, update the repository, update the local repository. And you could browse the local repository with command line tools and say, what is there here? What can I get access to? Um, in GitHub, when you fork a project, you get all the branches that that project had. But with Git locally, when you clone a project, you clone the specific branch you're asking for. And if you want a different branch, then it has to go back out to origin and say, give me that other branch now.
Mm.
Whereas Mercurial managed to maintain all of that on its own locally. And it doesn't seem like much, but it was really handy. And the way that it handled unstaged files
Mm-hmm.
was very nice because an unstaged file was still part of the branch. So you didn't necessarily have to add it to a branch for it to be part of that branch. It was just there de facto. And when you switched between branches, anything that was unstaged stayed in its working environment where you had it. And then if you decided to add it to the branch and merge it into the master branch, then it would be available to all of the other branches. But you could have temporary data that was floating around only where you needed it to be, only in the branches you wanted it to be in, which I found very handy. So, sad day. Sad day for Mercurial. I'm surprised they're doing it so fast. I thought just saying, yeah, as of June, all of them get deleted was kind of like, oh, wow, that's quick.
All right. Uh, we should wrap it up. You want to wrap it up?
That sounds good. I think it's been a good episode and
Oh,
a half.
before we wrap it up, we need to make a decision for next week. So I need to be back in Arizona. My mom is actually having some surgery. I'm down to try to record. I mean, we know the challenges I have in Arizona trying to record. I'm down to try to record. I can't do OBS out there. Do you want to try to have it set up for next week?
Yes, I will get OBS set up for next week. See what we can do.
I can send you over all the scenes and stuff I have because I have them all exported. I can send you over everything I have, and you can just import everything and see how it works.
Sure.
All right, so we will tentatively plan to stream next week, but there is a chance we won't, depending on just.
Well, we will definitely stream our tech support session next week. We might stream an episode.
That's true. Yeah. I tell you what, man, internet connectivity at my mom's house is horrendous. And I just wish they would get cable. Like, my mom lives in a neighborhood where cable is like 5 miles down the road. And it's been there for like the last 10 years. And they won't come, they won't come to her.
Well, it's a good thing those companies don't get any federal subsidies. Oh, wait. $2 trillion. Yeah, it was $2 trillion.
Just some. All right, so I think that will wrap it up for this issue of Troubleshooting 101 OBS and PHP Ugly, your ugliest PHP podcast on the inner tubes. This has been episode 161.3, and I am your host, Eric Van Johnson.
I'm Tom Rideout.
Keep it ugly. All right, I'm gonna give.
Yeah, I want to have I want to make a collection of all the sound effects you make after we say "keep it ugly."
I know. I always think. Well, that's why I like to have the music playing, man. All right, I'm stopping this recording. I'm gonna throw both these recordings in Dropbox before I forget. Let me get Pretzel playing a little background music for us. So you want to hear something weird?
Yeah.
Besides my my spiking and shit of my microphone. Thanks, Buttery. Dude, you're the best. Did you see what Buttery said earlier? Since starting remote, my time on porn sites have increased 1,000%.
Yeah.
I think that was one. That was
too, buddy.
1%. That was 1% with a bunch of OOOs after it. Oh. That was a horrible joke. So you want to hear something weird? External GPU I bought, right?
Yes.
I love this thing. Like, I'm addicted to this thing. Like, I don't want to use my computer at home anymore because my GPU is here at the office, right?
Can't you take it home? Isn't that the point?
It's portable-ish.
If you want to carry a brick around every day, sure.
So you helped me by pointing me to the driver for the network card, right?
Yeah.
And I installed it, and it didn't work. Like, it worked and then stopped working, and it wouldn't only stop work. The card would absolutely crash. So I'm messing around with it, and I'm like, this is weird because like I could be cruising websites for like an hour, then all of a sudden it just completely crashes, and I realized that it was only crashing when I went to a site that streamed something. Like if I tried to fire up Spotify, for example, immediately it would crash.
Yeah.
And it crashes hard. Like I can't even see my local network anymore. So I'm like, well, shit. I opened up a support ticket and I'm explaining to them what's happening. I even share a video of it, and I'm showing them, okay, look, I can do this. I can cruise the websites, and the ping is going, and then I'm going to start Spotify, and boom, it dies. You know. So they're like, yeah, you clearly have a defective unit. Send it back. I'm like, fuck. You know, I didn't save the boxes and stuff, so I tell John, I'm like, John, did you want one of these external GPUs? because I need to send mine back. So I'll order you one. I'll grab the box and I'll send mine back in your box. He's like, yeah. He's like, it seems to be working really well. I'll go ahead and take one as well. So I'm like, all right. So I ordered him the same setup I had, exact same setup. And I'm at home when it comes in. It comes in over the weekend, and I put it together real fast. I'm like, well, let me see if this one actually works. Because I told John straight up, I'm like, if yours comes in and my laptop works with it, I'm taking it, and then I'm sending mine back. And when mine comes back, you can have mine. Because I'm an asshole like that. So
I mean, that's exactly how I do things with anything my wife wants.
So I hook all my stuff up at home to the new GPU, and it works flawlessly. I'm listening to Spotify, I'm cruising, I'm like, all right, great. There was a problem with my GPU, whatever. I'll send it back. So I bring in the boxes, I bring in the GPU, I put his on my desk, I hook it all up, I take mine out, and I start to box it. And I'm like, well, wait a second, let me just make sure this works. And I test it, and it does the same thing. It crashes the exact same way. I'm like, what the fuck? So John comes in and he hooks up to the one that I was using.
Mm-hmm.
He installs the driver, and he's like, because I'm explaining it to him. He's like, that doesn't even make any sense. He's like, what you're telling me doesn't make sense. I'm like, I know. I've been in this business long enough. I know it doesn't make sense.
I 100% know what it is.
So he hooks up. He's like, yeah, it works fine. I'm like, okay, stream something. He's like, what? I'm like, I don't care. Anything. Pandora, anything. He's like, all right, Pandora. He opens, Amazon. Amazon Music. He opens up Amazon Music, which is not even an application I use. Opens it up. The moment it starts to stream, it crashes.
Yeah, I 100% know what it is. Yeah.
What?
The video card is not seated correctly in the device. Pull the video card out, blast it with some canned air, seat it down with even pressure.
Why would you say that was the issue?
These video cards are hypersensitive to the power they're getting through the PCI bus as well as the 8-pin connectors that are on them. So at some point, see, when you're streaming stuff, like when you're streaming Amazon Music or whatever, that stuff's hardware enabled. So something is causing the video card, not the enclosure, I think it's the video card, to power surge and hard lock.
So you understand the video card, the network port isn't on the video card, right? You understand it's on the case.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
But I can tell you that what it's doing is suddenly drawing power for a hardware decode and crashing some component of the system.
Why was it working at my house then? Just luck?
Possibly because it got jostled while you were transporting it. I can tell you, someone who's been building computers since '94. The first time I overclocked a computer was a Pentium 133. That was '92. It's always remove the device, reseat the device, try again.
All right, I'm willing to give that a shot.
I've encountered that on so many occasions.
Because I can't for the life of me think of what else could be causing it. I have never run into an issue like this before.
They are grossly complex devices, and you're running it on the least supported operating system.
Yeah, so I was getting way in left field. I'm like, okay, when you stream it, maybe it's doing some sort of port thing, and our network is crashing on that, or
no, it's something about how the device is managing power. The video card is sending a bad signal to the power supply.
All right, I'll give that a try. I have nothing to lose.
I can guarantee you that what it isn't is the network interface. The network interface is the thing that's failing, but it's failing as a symptom. It's not failing as a cause.
Interesting.
So the video card, because when you do streaming like that hardware streaming, you're using an MP3 codec that's built into the CPU or into the GPU. So like if you said you were using Spotify, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spotify, the web app, right?
No. I mean,
It's
I
like an
wasn't going
Electron
through.
app.
Yeah, the electronic. I wasn't going through the browser. I was using the standalone application.
See if it does it through the browser, and then go into Chrome flags
Uh-huh.
and search for hardware, and there will be hardware video and hardware H.264 and hardware VP8 decoding.
Mm-hmm.
And you disable those hardware decodings because that's telling Chrome/Electron use the GPU for decoding these values. That and the other thing, I mean, you don't even know about drivers for video cards. Drivers for video cards are so notoriously sticky that there's an app called Video Card Driver Remover.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? DDU, Display Driver Uninstaller. And it's such a persistent problem that AMD and NVIDIA both officially support this third-party app for when they can't figure things out. They say, install DDU, boot up in safe mode, run it, and uninstall every video card driver on the system, reboot back into normal mode, and install the driver from scratch.
Good.
And it's the display drivers are a total nightmare. But let me see if there's a OS X version. Yeah, there is an OS X version.
I'm gonna give that a try tomorrow. See if it makes a difference.
Oh, there isn't. It's just a Windows one. Shoot. Yeah, I download the freshest drivers, install those, and then remove the video card from the whole system, blow on it, and put it back in. I shit you not, man. I used to do that with RAM all the time.
Alright, we'll see how it goes. Alright, oh shit, I've been sitting here saying I was going to put those recordings in before I left. Let me do that real fast. Yeah, I'm out of here, man. I've been here all stinking day. And I've been here all day yesterday, too. We have a client who's like... I was supposed to leave for Arizona on Sunday, and one of our clients called up and is insisting on having a meeting on Monday, an in-person meeting, and is demanding all this documentation that I've been having to put together, and it's just like, oh man, it's just, I mean, it's, you know, it's one of the things.
Is this your new client?
No, this is one of our existing ones.
Oh, well.
They're just trying to kind of evaluate where they're at with this project, and I get why they're asking for the stuff they're asking for. It's just like it's so last minute, and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
So,
all right, man. Good luck.
All right, brother. So I will ping you next week, and
let's try to do something on. Are you going to be there Wednesday?
I will be there Wednesday. Yeah.
Let's try to do something on Wednesday just to make sure that the tech stuff is worked out a day before. And
Okay.
I'll have OBS running by then, so see what it does.
Okay, I'll actually I think I have the OBS. Yeah, I have the OBS
Yeah, it's in the
stuff
droplet.
I'll export what I have now, just to make sure it's current. But yeah, it's all out there. And so do you have the edit for the show then? Because I'm not gonna be able to edit this weekend.
Yeah, I'll take the edit for this.
All right, cool, brother. All right, man. Take it easy.
You too. Bye.
Peace.